Hello coin collectors out there, welcome back to the Big D Coins channel. So we've actually got a first for the channel. This is the first time that I've shown off a standing Liberty quarter where we can actually see the details. So that's going to be the focus on today's video. This one in the back right here I believe is dated 1920. Now the standing Liberty quarter was made from 1916 up until 1930. There are two types to it. There's the Type 1, which was made in 1916 and part of 1917. Then there's the Type 2, which was made later from 1917, part of 1917, all the way until 1930. Before we had the Standing Liberty Quarter, we had the Barber Quarter. Then after the Standing Liberty Quarter, we had the Washington Quarter. Now, the Washington Quarter didn't start until 1932. 1932 was the bicentennial anniversary of Washington's birth. So in 1931, if you're paying attention to those dates, in 1931 we don't have any quarters that were produced by the United States Mint. So if you're looking for that 1931, you are not going to find it, unfortunately. But let's get back to the ones that we've got in front of us right here. As you can see, my two older ones that I've shown on the channel before are so worn out. One of the major flaws of the Standing Liberty series was that the date was located right here, and that was one of the first areas that would wear and tear. It's one of the raised areas, and it's along the rim of the coin. So the rim will wear rather quickly, as well as any raised areas. So this one right here, we don't see the date on it. And then on this one right here, my older one, we don't see any part of the date on it as well. So I could get some of the Nicodate type stuff to remove part of the series right here, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm fine with having a no date Liberty, Standing Liberty quarter. Now I can tell that these are Type 2, not by the obverse, but by the reverse. So the reverse has the reverse for the Type 1 has a uneven amount of stars on the left and the right, and then no stars at the bottom. The Type 2 has 3 stars on the bottom. So I'm tilting it a little bit in the light, and we can see that both of mine right here are the Type 2. So the Type 2 is the less rare of the two varieties. Now I'm going to slide those old ones aside, and we'll bring in this one right here. So as we can see, when we rotate it in the light, we see that there's a 0 right there. So that limits it down to 1920 and 1930. Now I think I can kind of make out a 2 right here. Maybe I'm just tricking myself into seeing a 2 right there. But 1920 had much higher mintages than 1930, as we'll discuss a little bit later in the video. So it's kind of the safe bet to assume that this one right here is a 1920. Now it's definitely the Type 2 because it's got the 3 stars on the back right here under the Flying Eagle. Now, as far as the details of what you're looking at right here at the top of the quarter, so we see Standing Liberty. She's looking over her left shoulder. She's holding a shield in her left hand and an olive branch in her right hand. Now, you might be wondering which of these are rare, which are more valuable. Well, they all have a definite base value to them. That's because the mintages on them were low for the entire series. The series was made for a relatively short period, only from 1916 until 1930. In addition, they have some silver in them. So as far as the melt value of the coin goes, I often talk about this as establishing the base price of the coin that you can kind of expect to get for it, that silver collectors would pay for it, as well as coin collectors. So they're 90% silver, just like the 1964 or 1960, prior to 1965 Washington quarters. 90% silver, 10% copper. They've got a weight of 6.25 grams, so brings a melt value of $2.50. Now, I don't recommend going out there and trying to sell yours for $2.50 because people like me will definitely scoop those up. These can sell for around $10, should be kind of their base price, going up to $15 for maybe a coin that you see right here. Now, that's what I paid for it. Now, I did buy this, so I didn't pluck this out of circulation. It had the price going across the top right here. I didn't really like how that was printed out, so I just ripped that off. I'll eventually probably put it in a new flip and just take it out of this one right here. So in case you're wondering why there's some missing paper up here, that's where the price was. But as you know, buying coins from coin collectors, sometimes they put a price there, then scratch it out, then write another price. So I didn't like that, so I just removed it. Now, as far as the high and low mintage years, the highest mintage year, any guesses, anyone? Is the one that I've got right here, which kind of makes it the most affordable if you're going to seek out just one particular year to buy. So the highest mintage year is 1920, in which there are 27,860,000 of these that were produced. Now, the average production amount for each year was 6,128,000. So 27 million, much higher than the average of 6 million. The lowest year of production is 1916. So the very first year that they came out, there were only 52,000 of them made. Now, the reason for that is because they didn't start producing these until 2 weeks before the end of the year. So they actually started releasing to the public 1916 Standing Liberty Quarters in 1917. Now, that's in contrast to what you usually see when you're coin collecting. Usually the first year of production is the highest year, but if they start producing later in the year, then you can get that really low mintage. So as far as the price of these coins go, if you go on the PCGS price guide, you're going to see a mint state and a full head designation, a FH designation. Now, FH, haven't really talked about it at all on the channel, actually. That means full head. So imagine something similar to the full steps designation for the Jefferson nickel. The Standing Liberty quarter has a full head designation. Now let me get you the ANA guide definition to the full head designation. So all details in hair are well defined. Hairline along the face is raised and complete. Eyebrow is visible and the cheek is rounded. Now, I definitely don't have any of those characteristics with this coin right here. But the essential part that you need to know with the full head designation is that you can get a coin that's in mint state 65, 66, 67, 68 and still not have that full head designation. That full head designation doesn't really matter how much wear and tear gets to it. The key essential part of that is the striking of the actual coin at the time of the mint production. Now, dies, the part that strike the planchet of the coin that have the details on it, those will wear out as the production series goes. So for you to get that full head designation on your coin, just like the full steps, that means it has to have been made as part of kind of the earlier series, and the earlier run of production. So if they're making 27 million of these, like they made in 1920, the ones where they first started using the die, you'll be able to get a clear image right there, and then the die will wear out as they go on. But before they replace it, it'll be really worn out, and you won't get a crisp, clear, full head designation. So that's the essentials that I was trying to get across right there with the full head designation. So if you go into PCGS, you'll know what they're talking about with the FH designation versus the mint state designation. Now, as I mentioned, 1916 is the most valuable year, so you can find those online. People are selling them, but you're going to have to pay a lot for them. So looking at the mint state the mint state 1916, so this one doesn't have the full head designation. There were just 52,000 of them that were made. PCGS has a survival estimate at all grades of 10,000 and just 50 of them at a mint state 50 or a mint state 65 or better. So they're estimating that only 50 of these 1916s have survived at a mint state 50 or better. Now, the most valuable one that PCGS has graded is a mint state 66. They've graded 6 of those, and they have a price guide on them of $38,000. So as you can imagine, like most coins that have very low mintage, these ones can sell for quite a lot of money. Now, the main reason for that is that people like to build up their sets in the best condition possible for each of their coins. All right, that's about all the info that I've got for you today. As I learn and do more research about the Standing Liberty quarter, maybe I'll produce another video to kind of clarify some of the stuff that I talked about today and add a little more detail and nuance to it. Thank you very much for watching. If you're still watching at this point, please do hit that subscribe button. And thank you for sticking around and enjoying these videos. Enjoy, everyone.